Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and I want to welcome you to the PublishU podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm talking to Dennis Niziol from Oxford, who has written a book called Three Score and Ten. Dennis, very welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Matthew.
Well, you can call me Matt.
Okay.
And I'll try and call you Dennis.
All right, that's fine.
Hey, Dennis, you sound a little not English. You sound like you got a bit of an American thing going on there.
Yeah, I'm originally from Ohio in the States. I've been in England since 1972.
Wow. So Ohio, for people who don't know where Ohio is, where is it?
It's Central East. You've got New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Okay. So up north in the middle to the right a bit. Okay, we can picture it. So what brought you to England in the 1970s?
Purely through, I wouldn't say coincidence. I think it's a God incidence. I got in a bit of trouble. I was a radio announcer back in 1972. Invited to a party, got in trouble. Somebody put a contract on me, as you do, and I had to get out of town. So it was during the Vietnam War, so the Air Force was happy to have me. And when I joined, they gave me the opportunity to come to England to go to Southeast Asia. So I came to the UK.
And you've been here ever since?
Well, no, I went back to theological college and came back over in 70.
Yeah, but pretty much been here. Well, I'm glad you like these sunnier shores.
It's a matter of what kind of rain you like, I think.
That's a good way of putting it. What kind of rain do you like? The sideways rain or the down rain, or
that rain?
And Dennis, you've written this book with your daughter Christie, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, my daughter. I have 70 years of history, and she helped me put it all together. Just an amazing author she is. So it was with the help of PublishU that we were able to do that. It's the first time we wrote a book, so it's been very, yeah.
And the book is basically about 70 years of your life.
That's right. The hard times, the good times, but basically it's about destiny. I think the fact that those little occurrences, those suddenlies in your life when everything changes, and it has really come together to make the pieces of the puzzle fit. So yeah. It's all of those things. Yeah.
Now, earlier you said there was a contract put out on you. Now I want to know more about this. A contract have you killed?
That's right. In Ohio, you can get one very cheap. So
what did you deserve to deserve having a contract out in your life?
Well, this was before I became a committed Christian. So I was at a party. A friend asked me to go to a party. So I had a weekend off from the radio station, and I went to this party, was dancing with this girl, and a guy was making fun of me behind me. And so I turned around and said, hi, what's your name? Because I never looked for trouble or anything. And he stood up and said a couple words to me. And I said, well, that's a funny name. And so he didn't like that. So he hit me. He gave me a black eye, and they took us out of the house so we wouldn't fight. I'm not a fighter. I never was a fighter, never hit anybody in my life. And I'm still trying to be amicable with this fella. And he picked up a beer bottle to hit me. And I don't know where it came from. I turned to walk away from him, and I backhanded him, and I broke his jaw. As you do, And like I said, I've never, ever took any training in anything. I found out this guy was training to be a boxer. And so he wanted to show everybody his skills that night. Anyway, he's lying on the ground, spitting out his teeth. And my friend shoves me in the car like the Dukes of Hazzard, and we're going through the hills of Ohio. So a few days later, his sister's at my house talking to my mother, said, you've got to get Dennis out of town. There's a contract on it. And so within a week, the military got me out of town. They promised to make me a radio announcer in the Air Force, but they made me a cop. And so the closest I got to a radio was a walkie-talkie. As you do.
So your book tells this story and many others by the sounds of it.
Yeah, one thing led to another. Like I mentioned before, those little twists that just change everything. That I just really felt, and I know now that it was all meant to be. That not that I should break somebody's jaw, but how those things work together for the good in my life, and so my life has just been so blessed, ever since that time.
Yeah, ever since you broke the jaw.
Well, I've got back in Ohio, I've got a bit of a legend actually.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Can you go back now safely? Has the contract been withdrawn?
Oh yeah, I've been back so many times. I'm not afraid to go back. And I pray that fella's okay now.
Yes, too. So where else have you traveled to in the world, Dennis?
Uh, India, Poland, Ukraine, Sweden, 5 countries in Africa.
Yeah.
Uh, and some other places as well. So I've been blessed to see this world. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to share this book is just some of the experiences I've had. Really,
Yeah. Tell us about another experience you had in one of those other countries you visited.
Africa. Uh, I remember going to Rwanda, and I prayed for this one dear lady who, we came in. We were one of the some of the first white missionaries in after the Rwandan wars, the genocide there, and we actually saw remnants of people's bodies still underground. And I prayed for this one lady who was mentally ill because she saw her family hacked to death. And so I prayed for her. And then we went back to Rwanda again, and she came up and asked me if I remembered her. And I said, yes. And she said she was healed from that moment that I prayed for. And the amazing thing in Africa, the churches we visited, the warring tribes are together in the same churches, worshiping together. Wahutu and Watusi tribes worshiping together in the same church.
Yeah.
Just I love being in part in all those things, and on God's richly opened the doors for me to experience things like that.
Yeah. Tell us about one of the other dangerous experiences you've had, Dennis. When
Oh,
else have you been in fear of your life?
yeah, I was hit by a fire truck in the Air Force. Sometimes God has to use big things to get your attention, and
Can't get bigger than a fire truck.
yeah. So I'm in the UK. I haven't committed my life to Christ yet, and they sent me out to direct traffic as a policeman because they had an F-111 coming down without its landing gear, and they had to foam the runway. It was a rainy, dark night here in the UK. You know what that's like. And so I'm out there directing traffic, and I was hit by a fire truck. Now, right before I was hit by the biggest truck on base, I changed shoulders with my rifle. I remember distinctly, and it braced the whole side of my body. In the end, I end up in the hospital with about 17 stitches in my forehead. But I had this sense that God had saved me for a purpose. In fact, the chaplain came in to see me, and I said, I'm okay, and I just had, I think he was saying I didn't want him to bother, but I was really feeling inside that I was saved for a purpose, and it wasn't too long after that an airman came to my gate shack and told me that God loved me more than anybody else ever could. And I surrendered my life to Christ.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for a military policeman to kind of, yeah, accept God, is that normal?
Well, funny you should say that. I'm a police chaplain now, and I'm also a prison chaplain, and it's easier to speak to prisoners than it is to the police.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but no, I was in that place where there was only one place to go, and that was up. Do you understand? I hit the barrel. I hit the bottom of the barrel, and that's when I came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said now you're a chaplain in the police
Yep.
and
Thames,
in prisons.
yeah, Thames Valley Police and HMP Bullingdon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I presume you don't tell and you don't tell them in prison you're a police chaplain as well. That wouldn't go down so well.
Oh, I don't say anything about that.
Let's hope they don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go out now. My cover's blown, really.
Yeah, totally. And what did you do for for your during your working life after you left the military, Dennis?
Um, yeah, so I've been a pastor for 40 years and
Oh,
retired.
right. So you've
Yeah,
left church type thing.
I pioneered the church actually in Bicester, and it's still going. So I stayed on until COVID was after and retired in 1970 at 70 years of age. That's why the book is called Three Score and Ten.
Yeah.
Because in the Bible, it says that our lifespan will be, for a reason of strength, 3 score and 10 or 4 score. So I made it to 70, and I thought this is a good place to put a bookmark, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So now your book, you've only scratched the surface with the stories today, but telling these stories and many others. How do you feel now your book is published and globally available, Dennis? I mean,
Uh,
it's something.
yeah, it's been a work of the heart, really. Putting this together. My daughter Christie is just so amazing at editing and putting things in order and everything. You can imagine after 70 years, I get things mixed up, but she sorted all that out. It sorted me out. Just excited, this is something that I think is going to be a legacy for my grandchildren, my great
Yeah,
grand. I've got 7 grandkids now, so when they grow up, this will be something that they'll always have. But also, I believe that we've written this for other people to discover that they can have a destiny through faith in God, you
yeah,
know, and I never knew I was going to be or do the things that I was going to do. I was sort of a blank canvas.
yeah,
I nothing planned.
yeah,
I just went with the flow. So I think the best dreams are not the ones that you dream, but the dreams that find you.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think that's what I fit into?
Mm,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah, and
Very good. So just as you found purpose in your life, you're hoping as other people read your book that they find
the same.
purpose in their lives too.
That's right. And PublishU has helped Christy and myself immensely. With the encouragement, with the edits and things that we've needed help with. It's the first book that we've ever published, so
Yeah.
just so grateful.
Yeah,
It's,
we've done really well. And Christie now wants to write her own book. So
yeah,
it's really encouraged and inspired her. So
yeah.
it's delightful. She'll be on the podcast before we know
That's,
it.
but she's got a number of books in her, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
thank you, Dennis, and thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the genuinely real life stories of authors from around the world like Dennis. If
thank you.
you're interested in becoming an author too, then please visit our website, www.publishu, the letter u.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.
Thank you. Bye bye.